Hello, my name's Ben. I'm a fledgling electrical engineer from Florida, and this is my entry for BitBuilt's Summer 2025 building contest. But this video isn't just for that. I can't just talk about my build, because this is a dream 15 years in the making, and I'd like to talk a little about that first. As a kid, I once found myself watching one of those future console slideshows on YouTube, full of design students' renders of hypothetical future video game consoles. No kids, this wasn't AI generated, and yes, people used to make movies like this in Windows Movie Maker. Ask your parents. Anyway, one of them was a render of a hypothetical GameCube portable. The OG, not Ginger's real-life build inspired by it. I remember thinking how cool it'd be to take my favorite N64 and GameCube games on the go, and being disappointed that such a thing didn't exist. But lo and behold, I stumbled across someone's N64 portable, the Starlight 64 by Vitomo. At first I was in total disbelief. What am I looking at? Okay, so it's an N64, but how? But I dug deeper and I saw how these portables were assembled under the hood. Oh, okay, so that's what an N64 motherboard looks like. Oh, it's a car backup screen. Wait, those just take composite video? Etc. I already had some electronics exposure from toy trains and snap circuits, so the core ideas clicked pretty quickly. And as that happened, my attitude went from, man, wouldn't it be cool, to, hey, that looks like fun. So I ended up trying my hand at it. And I learned a lot. I taught myself how to solder, I learned how to work on PCBs, about different types of IC packages, and more. But after more than 10 years, and losing 3 N64s, at least 1 GameCube, a Wiki Fusion, a PS1 screen, and a few controllers, I never completed a portable. There's the usual reasons why. Grade school, college, relationships, job searching, we've all heard this before. Regardless, I learned a lot from my efforts and eventually graduated from UCF with a bachelor's in EE. Every one of my failures was a learning experience and I got something out of each one, but I still promised myself I'd come back one day and vanquish this demon. At this point, I had been a member of BitBuilt for years, so I decided to enter the next summer building contest. This gave me the chance to have a clean slate build with a hard deadline. So I sat down and brainstormed some ideas for a portable. There were 2 ideas vying for my attention, one of which finally gave me my light bulb moment. I decided to give it my namesake, the Super 64. The novelty of this project comes from my console choice. My heart said N64, but my brain said Wii. An N64 portable isn't as appealing to me in 2025 for a few reasons, so my crazy idea was to build a Wii portable with an N64 controller layout. This allows me to play not only virtual console titles, but my favorite GameCube and Wii games as well. I also wanted the highest quality parts possible because I wanted to build this portable as if I'm never building another. So I opted for the full suite from 4Layer Technologies, including the really nice direct drive board for the screen. This, plus the RVL amp, gives me fully digital audio and video, which improves quality and saves space. It wouldn't be an authentic N64 experience without a goofy-ass controller, and here is no exception. I'm using a GC Plus as the core, with the C buttons mapped to the right analog stick through a resistor array. That's not a novel concept, other people have done this for various reasons, but to my knowledge, this whole exercise is a first for a portable. As for the GameCube X and Y, those have been relegated to this tertiary trigger setup on the back of the case. This helps me keep a pure N64 look on the front. This design gave me some grief because choosing whether to map the C buttons to an analog stick or buttons became a compromise between Virtual Console and GameCube compatibility. All N64 Virtual Console games have their own button mapping, and they're not even the same mappings between games. Remember, Virtual Console titles were meant to be played on a Wii, which means that the controls were compromised to make them work on a controller that didn't look like something out of Jujutsu Kaisen. At first, my case was going to be a hybrid Franken-cased 3D printed design, but I realized that'd be much more work than just designing a case from scratch. So I designed my first case attempt in Tinkercad. That ended up being too limiting and tedious. Tinkercad is basically MS Paint in 3D, and there's no constraining components outside of a binary lock. So I made this second revision in FreeCAD. Not only does this give me more freedom to design things like this nice shoulder, it's also much easier to modify. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Building a case was always the toughest part of portabilizing, so it's helpful to be able to just sketch something, mash go on the printer, check fit, and rinse and repeat. Controller and parts aside, this is a pretty basic build. The case was heavily inspired by the G-Boy, and I opted to leave out some of the more common extra features like Bluetooth or Rumble. One uncommon omission as of this recording, no built-in speakers. I prefer playing with headphones, so I decided to just save myself the design and wiring. To be honest, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants with this build, and I have to say thank you to those people. Unfortunately, so much time has passed that not all of them are around anymore. I need to give an obvious thank you to the OGs like Hellraiser, Downing, and Shockslayer, and of course Bentomo for that first ever portable I saw. I especially want to thank Ashen and Shockslayer for pioneering the reverse engineering of the GameCube and Wii motherboards that got us to where we are today. And more recently, many thanks to G-Man, Aurelio, and the rest of the 4Layer and RV Loader teams for the incredible hardware and software. Guys, thank y'all so much for everything you've done, because for me, choosing to pick up a soldering iron and a game-bit screwdriver all those years ago was a pivotal moment in my life. This has gone far beyond a hobby or odd obsession. It's given me a career. And even if this thing breaks tomorrow, I can set it on a shelf and point to it and say, that was the thing that started all this. So what's next for me? I'm not sure yet. Like I said, this was one of 2 project ideas, so maybe the second will see the light of day eventually. I also returned to the forums to see people toying with the Wii U, so maybe there's a solution in search of exciting new problems. But for now, that's all I've got to share. Thanks for watching.